How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about NIO, which ended up posting up a green day. I also have some news that I want to share with you guys in this video as well. I feel it is very important and it's going to have an impact as far as how the stock is going to perform moving forward, and also taking into consideration the market conditions. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for NIO. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $14.93, being up 5.89%. On the low, it tested $13.01, and then on the high, testing $15.35. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 138.931 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 87.289 million shares. So we did have above average volume on the day, and it's part of the reasons why we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 31.72. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So what we can clearly see, NIO is in a bear market, but we ended up having a decent recovery on the day. As far as for the low, we got down to $13.01. So as far as for the high, though, we got to $15.35. So what you'd want to see from NIO, can it fill this gap right here around $16? That would definitely be a good look going into tomorrow. We do have the Fed meeting, and if we get news that's expected, then I could see this gap being filled. If we end up having a pullback now, or we don't get the news that we are looking for, then we could easily get back into the $12 area and testing around $12.50 and so on. So that's why you want to keep a close eye on this play. And if you're looking for a full out bullish reversal, then it needs to come back above $19.80, which is right where we have the 21-day EMA. So let's see how it performs going into tomorrow. Now let's go over the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent short interest information for NIO. So for the off-exchange short volume ratio, it is at 35.36%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 16.86 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 6 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 0.25%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 11th, it was at 36.75. And then for the close of the 14th, being at 35.36. So one thing that we noticed right away, NIO does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for NIO. So we see on the inflow, it's at 405, and then on the outflow, it's at 296. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 3.56. On the medium, it was 273, and then on the small, it was 128. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0.77. On the medium, it was 197, and then on the small, it was 98.25. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for today, March the 15th, it being that inflow of 2.79 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. No surprises there. We had retail loading up on the dip. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, or funds, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 9.03%. So no surprises there. We did have a strong amount of volume on the day, a lot of interest on the retail side. We also saw this on the big money side. So again, it's going to be interesting for NIO, and I'm going to be talking about some more details and the final thoughts. So let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for NIO, we had a lot of news that came out of China today, and we're going to talk about them very quickly. Number one, they ended up posting up some solid economic data. We ended up seeing strength in their retail sales as well as their fixed investments and as well as industrials. So this does pose well that the economy is starting the year off on the right foot. Secondly, we also did hear that China said that they want to steer clear from sanctions from the United States due to the war that is going on between Ukraine and Russia. So this does bode well, and it does give investors a lot more confidence knowing that, you know what, China is trying to work alongside with the US, and this is very important in regards to their partnership and for the long term. But with that aside, we also have to understand what I talked about in previous videos in regards to fears around delistings, and on top of that, the C-19 wave that it's reared its head again over in China. So these are some things that investors do know about, but with the economic data that came out today, that is something that we just cannot ignore. We know that China is going in the right direction, especially since they have the fastest growing middle class in the world. I feel for NIO, there's so much potential in this stock, and that's part of the reasons why I say to do your homework and do your due diligence. And for the next factor that we need to discuss are the interest rate hikes. We know we have the Fed meeting that's going down on Wednesday and as well as Thursday. If it stays in line with expectations, which is 0.25 basis points, then I can see the market as a whole begin to run up. I can see NIO picking up alongside with it. But if the Fed ends up saying, well, you know what, we want to raise it by like 0.50 basis points, then I could see the market wanting to react negatively, and we could start seeing some more pullbacks. And we know as far as for Chinese stocks, this will have a significant impact, a bigger impact than compared to American stocks. So this is a variable that we cannot ignore, and I want to make sure that is something that you are prepared for. Now for the price action, which I know is a favorite part for many of you, we want to see NIO fill that gap to the upside to $16, especially if it wants to continue the bullish trend. Yes, it did close around $14.93, but inside of the after hours, it was looking fairly comfortable at 15. Yes, we do know as far as volume is concerned, there's not as much trading volume as we see during regular trading hours, but it's something that you're going to want to keep a close eye on, because if it can go into the open and open above 15, I don't see why it can't make a move going to 16. But again, pay attention to the market conditions. This is very important. And as far as the downside is concerned, we did show some support right at $13. So if this level was going to break, this is where I could see NIO getting down to the 1250 to 1240 range. But again, you want to make sure you're watching it, especially if you're a long-term investor, because I do feel it can provide some opportunities, and you need to find out what is the right price point for you. But for my traders, there are opportunities whether you want to go in with calls or whether you want to go in with puts. Just pay attention to those price levels. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, NIO does continue to have short squeeze potential. So this is why if we have above average volume coming into the stock, we can make some moves to the upside. And these moves that we're looking for is NIO to make that move to $20. Most preferably, if it can get back up to at least $19.80, things can really start looking interesting. And if we do get there, I'll make sure to do a video for you guys to keep you inside of the loop. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.